Ladies and gentlemen, I would begin with the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. As you would have followed, Pakistan has categorically rejected the report of the so-called Delimitation Commission. Pakistan's position is unambiguous and crystal clear. India's unilateral and illegal actions of 5th August 2019 and all subsequent measures in IIOJK are in blatant violation of international law, including the 4th Geneva Convention and the relevant resolutions of the UN Security Council on the Jammu and Kashmir dispute. India's attempts to lend legitimacy to its illegal and unilateral actions will never succeed. The ulterior motive of Indian moves was to undermine the internationally recognized disputed status of Jammu and Kashmir and to bring about changes in the demographic composition of the occupied territory to convert the Muslim majority to minority in IIOJK. Pakistan and the Kashmiri people have rejected all of these moves. This report is a further manifestation of the BJP government's repugnant plan to disempower and disenfranchise the Kashmiris. Consequently, the electoral balance has been artificially tilted in favor of Jammu as opposed to Kashmir, despite the latter making up the bigger portion of overall IIOJK population. We believe that this whole exercise is illegal and in contravention of the relevant UN Security Council resolutions, international law, and the 4th Geneva Convention, which impose certain obligations on occupying forces, including not to change the demographic structure of the occupied territories. The government of Pakistan has accordingly categorically rejected the report and termed it as a farcical exercise. A strong démarche was made to the Indian Chargé d'Affaires, who was summoned to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on 5th May. On 10th May, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari addressed a letter to the President of the Security Council and the Secretary General of the United Nations, highlighting the unlawful steps taken by India to change the demographic structure of IIOJK. The Foreign Minister underlined that the delimitation exercise was designed to disempower and disenfranchise and further marginalize and divide the Kashmiri people and pave the way for yet another puppet government by BJP, RSS combined that panders to its Hindutva ideology. Earlier today, the Foreign Minister briefed the National Assembly, reiterating Pakistan's categorical rejection of the entire exercise. The National Assembly also unanimously adopted a strong resolution rejecting the report of the so-called Delimitation Commission and reiterated Pakistan's unflinching support and solidarity with the Kashmiri people. Pakistan will continue to reach out to the world community to raise international awareness about India's illegal actions and to mobilize the requisite response. We reaffirm commitment of the government and people of Pakistan to extend all possible support to the Kashmiri people till they achieve their legitimate right to self-determination as enshrined in the UN Security Council resolutions. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now turn to some of the key diplomatic engagements in recent days. Beginning with the visit of the Prime Minister to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia from 28th to 30th April. This was his first visit after assumption of office and was reflective of the close historical and brotherly relations between our two countries. The Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was accompanied by Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and a high-level delegation. His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, Crown Prince and Deputy Prime Minister, received the Pakistani Prime Minister in Jeddah. You must have seen the comprehensive joint statement that was issued at the conclusion of the visit, which details reassurances of continuous support to Pakistan and its economy, expanding trade and business ties, increasing investment, and creating opportunities for Pakistan's manpower in Saudi Arabia. During the visit, the OIC Secretary General Hussain Brahim Taha also called on the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister noted that as the current chair of OIC CFM, Pakistan would continue to play a constructive role and a proactive role with regard to the matters of interest and concern to the OIC member states. He also thanked the OIC for its steadfast and strong support on the Jammu and Kashmir dispute. From Saudi Arabia, the delegation proceeded to the UAE, where the Prime Minister met with His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of UAE Armed Forces. They held extensive consultations on a range of bilateral, regional, and international issues. Ladies and gentlemen, since the assumption of office by Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, there has been a flurry of diplomatic activity. The Foreign Minister received felicitation calls from the Iranian Foreign Minister, his Kuwaiti counterpart, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and the Chinese Foreign Minister and State Counselor, Mr. Wang Yi. Speaking to the US Secretary of State, the Foreign Minister underscored that Pakistan and the United States have a long-standing broad-based relationship. He added that constructive and sustained engagement between the two countries on the basis of mutual respect and mutual interest was vital to promote peace, development, and security in the region and beyond. The Secretary of State also extended invitation for second Global COVID Summit being held virtually, and the Foreign Minister will be participating in this today, and the ministerial meeting on global food security to be held in New York on 18th of May. In the virtual meeting with State Counselor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi, the two sides reiterated strong support and commitment to further strengthen the all-weather strategic cooperative partnership and continued support to each other's core national interests. The Foreign Minister underscored his determination to inject fresh momentum in the bilateral strategic cooperative partnership and add new avenues to practical cooperation. Appreciating the transformational impact of CPEC, the Foreign Minister underlined that Pakistan was committed to high-quality development of CPEC and looked forward to fast-tracking key projects and accelerating industrial relocation to Pakistan, especially in CPEC SEZs. Condemning the terrorist attack in Karachi University, in which 3 Chinese teachers lost their lives, the Foreign Minister underlined Pakistan's firm resolve to apprehend the perpetrators and bring them to justice. He reiterated that Pakistan attached high importance to safety and security of Chinese projects, nationals, and institutions in Pakistan. On 9th May, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari addressed the high-level meeting of the Group of Friends of the Global Development Initiative, GDI, held in a virtual format in New York. The Foreign Minister appreciated China's initiative to launch the GDI and termed it a useful platform to accelerate and coordinate efforts for implementing the globally agreed Sustainable Development Goals. On 10th May, the British High Commissioner and the Chinese Chargé d'Affaires called on Foreign Minister Zardari to convey felicitations. Ladies and gentlemen, during the past 2 weeks, the Minister of State, Hina Rabbani Khar, received Iranian, Cuban, Polish, and Swedish ambassadors and the Canadian High Commissioner. Discussions focused on enhancement of bilateral ties in regional and international issues. On 5th May, MOS Khar participated virtually in the high-level International Donors Conference for Ukraine held in Warsaw, Poland. The Minister of State said that Pakistan continued to call for immediate cessation of hostilities and stressed the need for diplomacy and dialogue for an early negotiated end to the Ukraine conflict. While expressing deep concern at the continuation of war, increasing number of civilian casualties, deteriorating humanitarian situation, and the refugee crisis, she reiterated Pakistan's principled stance for universal and consistent application of UN Charter principles, including non-use or threat of use of force, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity of states, pacific settlement of disputes, and equal security for all states in order to ensure lasting peace and security. Ladies and gentlemen, the government and people of Pakistan expressed deepest sympathies and condolences at the severe flash floods in Afghanistan, resulting in loss of precious lives and damage to properties. On instructions of the Prime Minister, 2 plane loads of emergency relief assistance were dispatched on 7th and 11th May. Pakistan also strongly condemned and condoled the terrorist attacks in Mazar-e-Sharif and Kabul on 28th and 29th April, causing loss of precious Afghan lives. Pakistan strongly condemns the raid by Israeli forces on Al-Aqsa Mosque on Jumatul Wida on 29th April in the holy month of Ramadan, as well as subsequent raids and attacks resulting in injuries to many innocent Palestinian worshippers. You would have also seen our statement of yesterday on the condemnable killing of journalist Shirin Abu Akleh by Israeli occupation forces. Pakistan calls upon the international community to take urgent action to put an end to the Israeli occupation, which continues to fuel conflict, tension, and instability in the region. We stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people and reaffirm Pakistan's unstinted support for the Palestinian cause. We remain deeply concerned by the rabid Hindutva ideological drive that is being spearheaded by the BJP RSS combined in India and IIOJK. Innocent Kashmiris continue to face unprecedented violence at the hands of Indian occupation forces that operate with impunity in IIOJK. In the last week, 10 Kashmiri youth have been martyred in the so-called cordon and search operations in Kulgam, Bandipur, and Shopian districts. It is deeply deplorable that during the holy month of Ramadan, the Indian occupation forces intensified their repression against innocent Kashmiris. This included the prohibition of congregations of Shab-e-Qadr and Jumatul Wida at Jamia Masjid in Srinagar. Pakistan also condemns in the strongest possible terms the highly deplorable incidents involving playing of Hanuman Chalisa and other Hindu devotional songs on loudspeakers as a counter to the Muslims' call to prayer or azan at various mosques in Indian state of Karnataka. This lays bare the new level of religious radicalism in BJP-ruled India. Pakistan calls upon the Indian government to transparently investigate the incidents of widespread violence against minorities, particularly Muslims, and their places of worship, and take measures to stop such incidents from recurring in future. The Government of India must ensure the safety, security, and well-being of all minorities. Pakistan also calls on the international community to take note of the aggravating situation of Islamophobia in India and play its due role in ensuring the religious freedom and safety of the beleaguered Muslim community in India. I thank you, and I can take your questions.